The music fades away, and we're here. So, let's take a look at this, and we'll switch over. It may work, it may not. Not today. Maybe it don't have display properties. Really? Ah, the res. The res. Nope, sorry, not happening in what do I want to call it? Safe mode. Okay. How are we gonna do this? I wonder if it does. Yeah, we're not doing that. Perhaps we can cancel it. I have a disk check set up, but we're going to restart and see if we can cancel it. I think if we press any key, we should be able to cancel the error. What is it? Check disk, I believe I scheduled. For some reason, safe mode won't output to VGA. We should get the option to skip. If we don't, well then, we'll do what we can. Oversight is never fun. Alright, it's going to run through. We're booting into safe mode, so we got to go into, what is it, msconfig, and reset. Or not reset, set it to normal. Alright, canceled the disk check, so it's going to boot up for us now, and we're going to go in. And then I should be able to have some type of display. Because we are plugged in, it's just not getting it. And this is the one that we previously did yesterday, if anybody remembers that. msconfig. Alright, and we want to go to our boot tab, and we're going to uncheck safe boot, hit apply, go back to general, and we want normal startup. Hit apply, okay. Alt F4, let's restart it again, and wait for it to come back. And we'll see if we can get display output this time. Some days I think OBS on my actual computer is just finicky. Like it seems one day it's working, the next day it's not. It's like, do I really need to go spend money on something to get a better result? Nope, okay. So not in safe mode. We can... Who would think that HDMI, you can't output video or audio over HDMI in safe mode? That's just crazy. Alright, so where we left this yesterday, and because I did reboot to safe mode, we left it with Malwarebytes doing a scan. So we're running a complete scan of the computer with Malwarebytes, and the results for that were 0. And then we got to this point here, which, let me go ahead and open up this app. You should be able... Yeah, of course you'll see it now. Alright, we're going to go in, we're going to run rkill. And if you have ever seen a message like this, then you know exactly what your problem is, and we can't even minimize it. It tells you to see whether you need an x86, which would be 32-bit, or x64, 64-bit version of the program. So rkill won't run the 64-bit version. It will, however, run if it's the 32-bit. The easy way on Windows is, depending on what version you need to get to your, I guess it would be, I don't even know what it's called. I call it, it's sysinfo. This window tells you, and right here, if I can show you, it tells you if you're 32 or 64-bit operating system. Now that's fine that this is 32-bit operating system. We have 32-bit tools that we can run on this. However, what's not fine is that there. Now, oversight on whose part, no idea. The first time I worked on this computer, I didn't happen to notice it, and this time I didn't up until today. 8 gigs of RAM, and it tells you right there how much RAM is usable. Out of that 8 gigabytes, 2.93 gigabytes is usable. And that's a limitation of 3 gigabytes that can be used on a 32-bit operating system. Why it's not 3 even? How can we pull this up to show you? Why it's not 3 even? I don't know. This is going to come out exactly. Okay, so we're sharing a little over shared system memory for the video, the onboard video, which is Intel in this case, not like an NVIDIA or AMD or ATI graphics chipset in here. It's actually an Intel one. We're sharing like 1.2 gigabytes or 1,242 megabytes of system RAM, meaning it's taking RAM from the actual system memory. There's two 2 gig sticks there. It's taking it from that and sharing it out for the graphics, because the graphics chip itself in this one has actually only 64 megabytes of RAM. So we end up with 1.3 gigabytes for graphics memory, and some of that has to come from our system memory. So if you can get to control panel on your computer, if you're on Windows 10, you have the little search box right beside where your start, or where the Windows logo is. There's either the circle or the rectangle, depending on what update of Windows 10 you may be on, like what revision of it. If it's Windows 8.1, find your search by sliding to the right, and the little charms will pop out. You can search there and go to your control panel. And Windows 7, you can search if you want, or just go up to the link in your start menu to the control panel. Once there, if you're on category, switch it. That's what category looks like. You could be on large icons or small. Small gets more on screen. You don't have to go over and scroll. And then go into system. Now, if you're on 10, there's another way to do this, and that would be something like this. Go to your Windows Start button. I call it that. I always have the Windows logo there. Click on it, go to your settings. After in your settings, go to System. Scroll down, and if your window's big enough, you may have it up here on the upper right. System info will pull up that same screen that we're looking at. View basic information about your computer. There's the one on my computer, and then going back over to our repair, a very similar window here. And that tells you basically a basic rundown about your RAM. And here on mine, we can see that I have 8 gigs and the 64-bit operating system, 64-bit processor. That's a shame. But like I've said before, that 8 gigs, that's kind of a minimum in my opinion for running Windows 10. But 16 gig sticks of RAM are a little bit expensive, the DDR4, so I don't have it upgraded yet. Don't hate my streaming computer, people. Don't hate on it. It's weak. I know this. I laugh at it too when I'm not on stream. Okay, so problem here. This guy has RAM in his computer that he's not even using. He also asked when he was in here, I believe he stopped in during not one of these streams, not open hours or after hours, but he stopped in during the podcast, when Tim and I were doing the Antisocial Experience live show on, not the 2 shows ago, we did it on Monday during business hours, and a few people stopped in. So he had asked about upgrading from 7 to Windows 10 and what would that cost and some other stuff. Being that this is not an ideal situation, there's RAM that's never even used or addressed. As far as I know, it can't be used. Like, the system's not using it because of this limitation of 32-bit operating system. And we have, what do we got? An Intel Core i3 M380. Let's pull the specs up on that quick to see, just to make sure we're going to be good for a 64-bit operating system. So we'll do Core i3 M3. Is it M380? Yes, M380. Let's get the ARC Intel page and see what we can figure out about this thing. So, did I pass it? Didn't pass it. 36. Instruction set, 64-bit. So it can run a 64-bit operating system. Very capable machine. So we're going to go ahead. The data's already been backed up. We're going to go ahead and sort out the operating system and push that to the side and take a look at one other thing. So let me find the 10 install media. We'll get that going. And move this thing out of our way and get on to something else. We need to do a restart. Tell me it canceled it. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Restarting. Let's see if it gets it. So now all I'm doing is getting the F12 boot options, which isn't going to happen for you, just for me. Some computers can do display. It's all how they're built inside, like what type of of the display port, how it's wired on the motherboard, like how it's actually laid out, whether it can display all the time, some of the time. I didn't know you couldn't run HDMI out in SafeMode. I discovered that today. I might have discovered it in the past and forgot. I don't know. But I'm gonna throw it out there. That's something I found out today on this computer, as far as I can remember. Of course, I forget a lot, so who knows? Alright, let's go to storage. What a shame. I wish we could send this out to you. Now, I think we might be able to do it if we disconnect. I think this is one of those computers that if we would pop it open, disconnect the monitor, this actual monitor, it would see that there's no display connected, the laptop would, and then we would let us run out the HDMI. I think it would default to the HDMI. That's weird. There's a few computers that were brought in to be looked at that were broken, and they were pretty messed up. They'd been through a car crash, and that's how we actually got it there. Or how we got into it was by running through I think one was HDMI and there was another one we had to do VGA and adapted it to HDMI. And on a side note, if you have one of these older computers where you're running Windows 7, just remember that operating system is going end of life coming January this year. The Microsoft extending its support for it. They extended it for quite a few years now. And it's basically time to upgrade. Don't stay out there in the Wild West with your OS. Anything that's discovered, vulnerabilities with Windows, ways somebody could access your computer, get into it remotely. Microsoft's been fixing stuff like that all along. Any type of security or vulnerabilities, flaws, whatever, issuing hot fixes, patches, whatever you want to call them. They've been updating it and fixing those things when discovered. Once the OS goes end of life, just like XP, and I don't know if Vista support's been dropped, I'm pretty sure, since 7 is going to be end of life soon. It's going to go the same way, the way of the dodo, gone. Don't be stuck on 7. Upgrade. If you can't upgrade your computer, go buy a new one. So we're going to look at our product key. We have a Home Premium product key, so we need to install Windows 10 Home. While we work on that, or let that go on, we will continue getting the rest of our stuff for the next thing. No, we won't. We're going to come back and click. Okay, our system partition, 500 gig. Let's delete it. Hit OK. I forget, did we tear this one down? Was this tore down yesterday? Somebody tell me out there. Did we tear it down? We cleaned the fan, the heatsink. But did we put new thermal paste on? I believe we did. This one had, I think, it had 2 spots where it made contact and ran out. I could be wrong though. Important. Not important. Alright, that is underway. We will set this one off to the side here. And let's go for the next contender. This is another deal. Let's zoom this in, see where we can get. We got a MacBook Pro here. We got to pull the battery, and then we're going to pull the hard drive. And this is nothing new, not something we did before. We need to see what type of data we're messing with internally on the drive. This one is infected pretty bad, and not sure what direction we have to go with it, whether we're putting Windows back on it, and if not, Windows alone, because it did have Mac and Windows, or Mac OS and Windows 10 or Windows 7, maybe Windows 10 on it at the same time. It would boot to either partition and run an OS from there, not both at the same time. And she didn't want to do the whole VM thing then, but is considering it now. I'm gonna try and get it set up on another laptop here to kind of showcase it, show her. But for now, we have, I believe, a 1 terabyte hard SSD we need to get data from, and before we do that, we're going to go ahead and scan it. And steps on the way to that, we need 24%. We need to get this sticker out of the way and pull our battery. The battery is unplugged. Let's go for, that is pentalobe. We need Torx. Oh boy, and this is another one of those glad we have it situations. I do believe is it that one or that one? Not that one. But it is this one. So let's check our fit. And there we go. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and lift this slightly to get, we need to get the screw out of there. It's funny, you have to, just to do this, 3 different screwdrivers. You need your pentalobe to open the bottom, then your Torx to take this out, and then Phillips to remove the screw that ties the SSD, or fastens the SSD down. I can't talk today. Somebody want to come talk for me? Give me a second here. Give me a second here, people. We got some homeless guy breaking in.
Help me, help me.
What's up, man? What'd you break now?
My back? Okay.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm over here breaking stuff too. It's okay. I think everybody just understands that we've fixed for so long, we're going to go ahead and break now. I say it's okay. Alright, so with that, we are ready. We need an adapter, and we'll plug this in, and we're going to at least do a Windows Defender scan on it. What else can we do, I wonder? I wonder how this is going to affect us going forward with this stream, being that we just plugged in a hard drive. Alright, there, it showed up. Let's go ahead, right click on it, and we're going to scan it with Windows Defender. We won't get any real results there now. That's going to take a bit, so we'll hop back off of the actual computer. Back off the mine and back over to here. Oh yeah, it is lagging it out. There we go. I had to manually switch it. That scan is killing the streaming. What's that? I'm working on this, getting this one. This is backed up.